Hello, today I will talk about history of baking. I divided my presentation into 6 points. First, I'll explain what baking is, and second, Asian baking. Third, baking in the Middle Ages and to 19th century, and fourth, modern baking. Fifth, the importance of baking, and lastly, I'll give you a quiz. First, I'll introduce what baking is. Baking is a method of preparing food that uses heat, and baking is usually done in oven, hot ashes, or hot stones. And there are various types of baking. Um, there are pieces of bread, cakes, pastries, pies, tarts, cookies, scones, crackers, and pretzels. And the baking has cultural and religious significance. And it also has traditionally been performed at home for meals and in bakeries and restaurants for local consumption. Next, I'll move on to Asian baking. First, the history of baking was started in Croatia about 6,500 years ago. And Egyptians were called as the pioneers in baking since they started to use yeast, and they're estimated that they started baking during 2600 BC. And Roman Empire, in terms of Roman Empire, the organization called Pistorum recognized bread makers as skilled artisans, and baking was held to celebrate Fornax, the god of the oven goddess, and they started baking in 168 BC. Third is the baking in the Middle Ages until 19th century. First, during the medieval period, the ovens were a standard fixture in home, and the ability to produce high-quality bread helped people to hold a high position. And during the Middle Ages, bread was reserved for wealthy people, and for wealthy people, they ate dense, rich cakes in exotic colors, and for the poor, they ate rye, black bread, and barley meat pies. During the 1500s, the expensive spices such as saffron were used in baking, and during 16 to 1700s, baking became more accessible to the average person, and people started to use sugar and flour in baking. Next, during the 1800s, chefs started using tools and array cake recipes. And lastly, during the 1900s, women had less time to spend in the kitchen since the employment rate of women increased, and also the people started to make yeast-based bakings. Fourth is the modern baking. These are some features of modern baking. People spend less time in baking, and they rely on different kinds of bakery products such as patties, pizza, and slices. And they are also really dependent on machines, and they regard baking as art since it requires high skills and sensitive works, and baking became integral in modern life. Fifth, I'll talk about the importance of baking. Bake can reduce stress and give some relaxations. Baking can be very calming, and movements such as kneading bread has been shown to reduce the levels of anxiety and help them manage depression. And it also improves appetite, and the feel of flour or the smell of bakes help to stimulate the senses and build up a healthy appetite. Last is the quiz. Number 1. Where baking star.
Croatia.
What was the biggest change in the history of baking during the 60s to 1700s?
Baking became more accessible to average people.
And third, what are the some features of modern baking?
It spends time less on.
I'll just explain. People spend less time and rely on different kinds of bakery products and they're dependent on machines. Thank you for listening to my presentation.